Alright, welcome back to episode 6 of Prison Architect Tutorials, or tutorial. Last episode we went over the staff room and the visitation center, or room. Still can't figure out which way I want to name it. Next, let's address something else. In our previous episode, I believe is episode 2, we had our prisoners attempting to escape. Now, as you can see, if I hover over them, it says misconducts, escape attempt, and attacked staff. So they were, in that occasion, sent to lockdown, which meant that they were imprisoned in their cells for 3 hours, or at least it meant the policy, that they were supposed to remain in their cells for 3 hours as a punishment, which is a good and all. But the next thing is there is this green thing, the screen plus, that says solitary 2 hours. What this means is that they're supposed to be sent to the solitary confinement cell, which we don't actually have yet, so let's build that now. First thing we want to do is we want to go to the Rooms tab to figure out where and what we actually need. What is the requirement for a solitary room? If we see this here, we hover over it, it says room requirements enclosed, surrounded by walls and a door. So that leaves us a lot of options. And that's actually awesome for us because this means we can make a 1x1 cell, use as little space as possible, and we still fulfill the requirements, and we can, that gives us a lot of space. So let's go to planning and plan out how we want things to be set up. Now, let's zoom out a little bit and see, where do we want this solitary cell? And what does it really do? Okay, the cell, it's a 1x1 cell, people are stuck in it, they can't do anything. Does it need to be central? I'm thinking no, because it doesn't matter how long they take to get there or to get from there somewhere else, because one, I kind of take it as a punishment for them. Two, I don't see it that they need to be in the center and wasting space from possibly a canteen or a kitchen or shower or yard, a staff room, an infirmary, a psychologist's office, or a visitation center. So for me, as out of the prison as possible would be the best thing. So I'm thinking, we have so much space on the left, why don't we use some of it like now? So I'm thinking up here beside the kitchen would be good. This would be a room, this would be a room. Oops, that's wrong. So I'm thinking like this area here would be good, right? But it's only a 1x1 cell that we really need. So I'm going to create a couple of cells. Whoops, I didn't do that. Oh, actually I did. So I'm going to use the objects one from the planning just to indicate where my prisoner will be kept. So this is where the 1x1 cell is going to be, like where he's going to be kept. Now I need a door for that as well, so this is going to be the door. And then there's going to be a pathway here. And then walls again, because I want it to be on 2 sides. Whoops, that's not it. There. So we're really using our space. Oh, auto-saving again. Goodness. Feels like it's happened so often right now. So this is, I think, what we're going to be using for our solitary cells. So we have 10 solitary cells that we get out of this. Let's do it. Let's actually turn this into something real. Let's go over to materials, select concrete wall, and then build it. Painstaking, clicking. Alright, so we got the first part done. Next, we need to go to objects and think of what kind of door do we want. Well, if we go and enter search term and type in door, we get all our doors. And this one already kind of gives it a name. I mean, it's the heaviest door to stop even the strongest of prisoners from escaping. I mean, it costs more, but with this door we can be assured that even while it can be destroyed, it will take so long that by that time something really does happen. I believe a guard or something will have already intervened. So I'm thinking, let's just use that. It's going to cost 500, but a jail door is not good enough. It can be broken down too easily. Let's just put that down here. And we don't want the door to open towards the left in this case because it's the reverse. So R twice, so it opens towards the other way. And then that's it, I think, right? So let's escape to enter to exit the objects tab, and then 3 to have a max speed, and then zoom out to see our workmen do stuff. Right, that's also something you might want to maybe have noticed, that the workmen were walking quite quickly over the concrete, but they're walking slower over the grass. That's actually something they implemented as well. So it's going to be easier to walk over concrete and slower to walk over grass or other areas, terrain. What you can do is you can always build or plant, whatever you want to call it, different terrains. You can add dirt, you can do grass, you can do gravel, you can do paving stone. Paving stone is going to, as it says already, walk speed fast, outdoor only, or the grass says here, walk speed slow, outdoor only. You can just read it and you can just explore it a little bit, what you want to do. For instance, maybe when we later build our offices, you want to build a wooden floor. But let's get to that once we're there. Now, these things are being built. Let's go back to max speed. This guy is here. Everything's being built. Let's go to planning, remove those things. And in this case, you see it doesn't really quite work. Maybe it's a bug or not, but you actually need to click walls or something, and then you can, if there's something like that, you can remove it quite easily with just a right click. If you don't select it, and if you have some things down like that, and you've not selected anything here on the left, and just do it, it's not going to just go away. Unless you click something, and then it's gone. Don't know if it's buggy or something. Don't worry about it, it's normal. Everyone's experiencing it. Now, we've built our little cells, but we've not designated them yet. So let's go to rooms, click solitary, drag all over as we've already done with our cells, because we don't want to do the painstaking thing of clicking each one. I mean, the concrete walls in between are going to keep them apart. They're still in the exclamation mark because we're on pause right now, so let's go max speed times 3. And if you forgot how to do that, just click 3 or click the button itself, and it's all good. Now in this case, because we finally built them, our guards will move them over towards the solitary confinement. Oh, and somebody actually lit up. I hope he searches him right away. Oh, he searched him, that's great. What did he find? He found a hammer. Wow. Good thing he found that. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, why we have metal detectors. Right, so they've taken care of that. They're kind of bleeding, but let's just leave that be. I don't really care about that at the moment. The next thing we need, because we want this deployment tab to finally be unlocked, how about we get on there? Let's go to rooms, and then, because we need, actually let's go to staff. We need a warden, but it says the grand overseer of your prisoner required before you can research and hire a staff member. Right. It doesn't actually say it here, which is kind of a bummer. was hoping it would say it. Don't know where else it says it. Anyways, you're these people here, the warden, the chief, the accountant, the foreman, and the psychologist, they all need an office. So at max, you need 5 offices, unless you have 2 psychologists, or more than 2. For me, I only want 1 psychologist. So in this case, I'm going to create 5 offices next. So I'm thinking, where is the best place in this prison to build an office? In this case, 5 offices. Let's go to the rooms, figure out what the requirement actually is for that. So where's that? Let's browse through. Let's hopefully find it soon. Or just type it in. There we go. Office. Room requirements. Minimum size 4x4. Has a office desk, a chair, a filing cabinet, and is indoors. Well, it's obviously indoors because I'm putting it inside my prison, so that's not an issue. 4x4, I can do that. Chair, I'm going to need to do that once I've built it. The filing cabinet as well as the office desk. Now, as for the best place to put it, I'm thinking, well, this bottom right corner here is pretty empty and I don't really need it for anything else. I'm not going to put prisoners down there because the shower is up here, and for my prisoners to get from down here all the way up here to the shower is going to take forever, as well as getting to the canteen. So I don't want to how do I say this? I don't want to make it difficult for them or take too long for them to get there, because if they only have 1 hour each time, or if they only have an allotted time of 1 hour to eat, and they're just about to get out from their prison down here and they walk all the way up there, it's going to, suppose, take maybe 10 to 20 minutes. And then if they finally get in there and they take a little bit of food, sit down, it's going to take another 5 to 10 minutes. They might not be able to have time to eat the entire food, end up hungry, end up being grumpy, and end up doing stuff that I don't want them to do. So I'm thinking ahead, and I'm thinking, well, I just want my prisoners to be in this top half of the prison. Or maybe this. I don't want them to be below the bottom green line. Or at least not housing below the bottom green line. I don't care if they go below the bottom green line, and eventually they probably will. If I put a classroom there, for instance, or if I put a workshop there, or maybe a laundry cabinet, or a, a cupboard. But we'll get to those things later. We're already on a planning tool, so let's build the office. It has to be 4x4. So 6x6, 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 and kind of like that. Yeah. So we have 4x4 room inside. That's great. That's basically already it. I mean, maybe like that. Looks prettier. I don't need it to be like that, so that gives me more space. I can do something with the space up here. Maybe I could actually put it here, maximizing my space. Yeah, I think, whoops. I think I'm going to use actually the top one. I'm not going to use the bottom one, because what if somebody dies? I could use a morgue, and nobody needs to be near the morgue, or I could put the morgue somewhere on the opposite side of the street or on the bottom. So I'm thinking this should be good. I actually think maybe this should be shut off from the entire, because I could make this my administrative surrounding. So that seems like a good area, doesn't it? I mean, to me, I think it seems like a good area, so I'm gonna use that now. And put always one in here. Oops, I don't like that. One to the side. There we go. There we go. There we go. I'm going to fill those areas in with my concrete wall. Alright, Now let's have that built and then designate those areas to actually be an office. There's the office one. Zoom in a little bit and then, oops, that's too small. That's great. That's great. That's great. Obviously needs stuff, so hover over it and see what does it need. The size is alright, it's perfect actually. It's indoors, we need a filing cabinet, an office desk, and a chair. Let's get those things in Objects tab. Office desk, it's facing up. I think that's perfect, looks kind of pretty. Double R to switch it around 180. Let's get a filing cabinet, put that up there, I think. Double R to switch it around. I don't really need to see it. Wherever the desk is. Desk. I mean chair. I'm blind, I can see it. I can't see it. Oh, there it is, up there. Ah, found it. Great. It's a 1x2, so I can't really put it anywhere. I'm just gonna put it on the right. And that should almost fulfill it, except one thing. I want, what do I want? Do I want a staff door or a normal door? I mean, only staff are ever going to be in there, right? So I'm thinking, well, okay, let's just pause it. I'm thinking, well, only staff are ever going to access it in case something's ever there. I've not ever had the issue myself, but let's just put staff. Heightens the security of everything. Makes it look more professional. And since we said this is only a staff area, let's add another wall here. And then make it another wall here. Go to objects again and then say staff door here, here. I changed it around 180 with double R again. Return to game. Great. Actually, let's pause the game because I'm just seeing the to-do tab here. It says feed all prisoners, and it shows you in red how many prisoners we have. Every little eye or whatever that looks like. Maybe it's a tiny person that it's like a stick figure without arms and legs, or maybe it's an eye. I can't really define it, I'm not sure. Defines how many people or how many prisoners you have, and below says how many meals have been supplied. So here in this case it's already over actually, but still you can see we've had enough food being produced for the prisoners we had. So that's good. It keeps your prisoners happy and reduces the amount of riots and everything you have. And as you can see, the food is being well distributed everywhere. Actually, I think we have too much food. Don't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We only have 6 prisoners. And I think they're moving more food in there, aren't they? Yep. In any case, we have food. We don't have any shortages. That's good. Alright, now that we've built offices, we need to populate them. So, we hire a warden. Escape to remove that, and 3 to resume the game. And he automatically checks into a room or designates his own room. Now, you have this place up here, the bureaucracy tab. It just enabled itself because we hired ourselves a warden. This allows us to do stuff. We can now train this thing so you can research the security, which allows us to hire a security chief. Or we can do finance, which allows us to hire an accountant. So let's just actually do that because those things are important. The next thing also is health is really important, isn't it? I mean, for me, health is important. Before, we weren't really able to do much with it because we didn't have a warden yet. So after we have an accountant, we want health as well. So we're going to add a doctor, after which we're going to add a foreman. When you're playing this, you don't really need to do this one after another, just clicking them all. You probably want to space it in because, well, it costs $500, or depending on which one you take, quite a lot of money. For instance, here this offshore tax costs $50,000, which is a lot of money, and if you're playing this without sandbox mode, it's going to take some time to get there. So you really want to make sure what things you need. Do you need security? So that gives you later the ability to deploy. I'm not sure if it... yeah, here it is. So once you have this one, your security researched, you can go and research deployment, which will be researched by the security or the chief. So you need to hire a chief. So the warden, the warden is only ever researches the finance, the micromanagement, the maintenance, the education, the health, and the psychologist, prison policy, and the security. For the other ones, you have their researched by their own little factions of maintenance, finance, security, and that's basically it. What else is important here? Well, actually, this is quite good for this moment. You can always get into it later. So, yep, that's it for a second now. Let's have him research it. And I believe that is it for now. We've built offices. We've thought of things. I've explained to you a couple of things, and now let's just... I think that's good for episode 6. Yeah, I'll cut it here. So, this was episode 6. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just jot them down somewhere. I will try to address them either in one of the tutorials or just address them right there on the spot. Else, I hope you learned something. I hope this helped you. If not, well, I hope you give me some improvements or some just some suggestions so I can improve it so you do learn something. And else, I hope you have a good day and see you next episode.